Morning! We just parked up in Stonethwaite, where we head out the village and crossed over Stonethwaite Bridge. We're currently heading down the path in the direction of the valley of Langstrath. Today we're going to head up to the famous swimming pool of Blackmoss Pot, and then from there we're going to find a route up onto Bessyboot via Cam Crag. We're going to head over Bessyboot and then come down another direct route, Big Stanger Gill. So in front of us we've got Eagle Crag. The valley of Langstrath is to my right there. Somewhere down here is Big Stanger Gill. Beyond that point is Bessyboot. So you may notice someone missing today. Our lad Billy is on the sick. If you've been following my Facebook posts, you'll have noticed that he had to have an operation earlier last week. He had a tumour on his toe of his back foot, a significant tumour, quite a big one, so it was a very tricky one to stitch up. So he's all bandaged up and on the sick for a while. We'll get him back on the fells, just a little bit of recuperation, so fingers crossed the tumour will be tested. Let's hope everything's okay regarding that. So yeah, he's a poorly lad. Just me today. A little further up here we're going to cross the bridge and head into Langstrath. So we're just dropping right off the path here, where you'll find a gate here that's going to take us back across the beck and into the beautiful valley of Langstrath, just there. We'll head into Langstrath just below Eagle Crag here. A bit further up the valley we'll cross another bridge that'll put us on the side of Cam Crag somewhere over there. So getting back to Billy, he had his operation on Tuesday. It's now Saturday 25th of October. Clocks go back tonight and we're back into winter. Yeah, the operation went well. Yesterday we took him for a bandage change, so I was able to get a look at that wound and it's healing fantastic, thankfully. There's no infection there and no swelling. He's been leaving it alone. He's not had to wear that stupid buster collar that they give him. Very good boy when it comes to things like that. He's just been calm all week, lying about on the sofa, no pain. What I'm planning on doing is giving him a bit more rest and then some gradual walks from home, 10-minute walks, and then when we get them bandages off we'll get started back on the very small fells, things like Sail Fell and some nice grassy easy ascents for him. We'll work our way up as long as it takes and hopefully we'll get back onto them big mountains. So yeah, he's having a sofa day today. Tracy's going to take him for a small walk as she's at home, and then tomorrow I'm going to spend the day with him at home and Tracy's going to get herself out on the fells down Borrowdale, I think, so keep an eye out for the video. I think she's heading down Borrowdale up onto High Dort to get some of them autumnal colours. Head through this fallen down gate here, which I'm just going to squeeze through a gap, and then back over this bridge which will put us on the correct side of the beck. We could have came out of Stonethwaite the other direction and came along this side of the beck to start with, but I chose to do this way so it would make a bit more of a circular walk. So the ridge of Cam Crag, it's a route I've never done. It's a scramble route. In fact, it's got 3 scrambles, grade 1, grade 2 and grade 3, depending on how you ascend the ridge. Because of the sloping nature of the ridge, if you head up the right hand side, you'll head into grade 3 ground, difficult ground where you might need the aid of a rope and a helmet. But if you keep left of the ridge, it slopes a bit more gentle and you head into the grade 1 scramble, upper section of terraces and pitches. And if you wanted the grade 2, basically it's in between the 1 and 3, in the middle somewhere. I do know the valley of Langstrath very well. I've been up here multiple times over the years. I used to head up this way to get to Angletown and then onto the big fells, you know, Bowfell and Esk Pike, and then I would come back down via Glaramara. Big walks, you know, back in the days when I used to do 15 milers and even 20 milers. I think the longest walk I ever did was about 26 miles, but I don't do them now. I'm much more happy looking for new routes, shorter ascents, you know, 6, 7, 8 miles, perfect, of harder ground, steeper ascents, something a bit different. And we'll certainly take a look at sections of the grade 3 just for reference. I ain't doing no climbing. I'll leave that for the boys with the ropes, although as I've probably mentioned in past videos, I've been in among some tricky places. Pinnacle Ridge for one on St Sunders Crag, Brittany Ridge up onto the Glidders and Triffin in Wales. All very hard scramble routes. We're just approaching Blackmoss Pot. It's just basically through this gate and then drop down to the river just here. We'll go and have a look. Here you go. What a beautiful place for the swim. Very deep. Certainly too deep for me and certainly too cold. Blackmoss Pot. And almost straight opposite Blackmoss Pot is our ridge, Cam Crag. Just across the way there's a bracken path, heads up to the bottom of the ridge. We're about 2.5 miles in from Stonethwaite now. Sheep everywhere. And here's our path. Takes you up past the Wolf Stones. Up there somewhere is the Wolf Cave or refuge, where back in the day An old boy used to live in there. It's a secret location, so I'm not about to give it up on YouTube, but it's somewhere up there. Head past the big boulder here, and then a bit higher up through the gate and fence. That's a steep old pull up the grass to the gate here. Straight ahead of me there is the Wolf Stone. Head round this big boulder as we're going to keep left of the ridge, and we'll suss it out, see what the ground's like. We're on a path. That's the Wolf Stone. My route's taking me round the left into Gill, so that's where we're heading. There's Gill below us. With Gill to my left, I'm going to start heading up the ridge. So far so good. Plenty of good handholds and footholds. All of the grade 3s round that corner, so we're avoiding that. Well, certainly for today we are. One day we might come back and do the grade 3 before we get too old. So if you're wondering how I'm getting these drone shots, pretty simple really. I've just flown it out and I bought myself a lanyard with a clip on so I can hang my controller and my phone so it's not in my hands. The drone itself's just hovering. I'm keeping an eye on it. If I hadn't wanted to make the best video that I could featuring the ridge, including the drone shots, I might have been tempted to head into the grade 2 or even the grade 3, but for safety purposes, you know, if you're making videos, you're concentrating on the video, you're concentrating on the ground, you're concentrating on your safety, so no point in putting yourself into too much danger. But if you're new to scrambling, what you've just seen is basically grade 1 scrambling. Grade 2 and grade 3 are a different thing altogether. Lots more exposure and lots more climbing. This is definitely a route I'll be revisiting. All of what I've just came up, Billy would have managed, but I wouldn't have put him on the grade 2 or the grade 3. But we could have got up the left hand side. There's even easier bits than what you're seeing in the video. But just remember, in bad weather, you get yourself in among that grade 3 and them sheer drops. Whoops! And you're going to put your life in a lot of danger, so just be careful. We're not far from the top now, well, the top of the ridge, where we're going to head over to Tarnat Leaves and eventually Bessyboot. Looking back down our ridge now into Langstrath, if you kept following the valley, you could take a left there and head up Stake Pass, which would eventually get you into the Langdales and Pike a Stickle over there. In the distance we got Crinkle Crags and Bowfell, and in the near distance here we've got Coombe Head. Gladamara's behind Coombe Head, and to our right in the north, Skidder with a bit of clag on the top, and Blencathra, Clough Head, over the Dodds, all with bits of mist and clag on them, and Helvellyn, which looks deep in the clag. Straight in front of us we got Dove Nest Top, but we ain't going to go that far. We're going to drop down into this grassy track and traverse round Dove Nest Top to eventually find Tarnat Leaves. We'll head over in the direction of Dove Nest Top because there's a fence over there with a styling we need to get over to keep us on the right path. And head along the fence in the direction of Rosswaite Cam, which is just up there. Very shortly, once we get out these little dips, we'll see Tarnat Leaves. That's Rosswaite Cam if you wanted to have a little scramble up onto the top of it. We're just going to bypass it, head through here. There's Tarnat Leaves below us, and Bessyboot behind Tarnat Leaves. Got to drop into the bottom here, past the tarn, and head up to the summit. You can just see a couple of folk there on the summit of Bessyboot. Some lovely light over there. We'll head straight up from just below the tarn. There's a bit of warmth in that sun now. It's been freezing cold up on the top there. Much more like my kind of walking weather this. I really don't like them heat waves that we've had through the summer, and Billy likes them even less. He's got to go and have his bandages changed again on Monday, so by the time I've got this video edited and finished, I'll tag a update on the end, let you know how he's doing. As you know, I very rarely walk without Billy, so he's always a big miss. I'm always looking down by my sides to see where he is. I know where he is, on sofa. Getting cuddles off Tracy. Oh. So yeah, from Rosswaite Cam you have to drop down quite a lot and then head back up to the summit of Bessyboot, or if you want to be posh, Rosswaite Fell. Some beautiful light there across the way on Black Star, which leads you up to Fleetwith Pike. To the right of Black Star we got Dale Head, Great Gable and Green Gable, and here we have the summit of Bessyboot, or Rosswaite Fell. 551 metres. It's a Wainwright and a Burkitt. Fantastic view down Borrowdale and into the north across Skidder. We'll head northeast off the back of Bessyboot back in the direction of Langstrath and Stonethwaite, and we'll go and find our route down Big Stanger Gill. You'll find another route of Stanger Gill I've done on YouTube if you wanted to check that one out. An ascent route. Today we're going to descend it. It's not a route that I would recommend descending in wet weather because there's a lot of pitched steps at the top and they're very, very slippery. So I really do prefer coming up Stanger Gill, but because of the way I've planned this route today, it's our descent. Drop down here into the bottom and we should find a path. At some point there'll be a fence and a gate we have to pass through, and then we'll drop into the gill. Just look at the views of the crags to my right here as we're dropping down into Stanger Gill. Absolutely stunning. Over the way there across Langstrath we'd eventually get up to Ulscarf. Just past that big rocky outcrop the path drops down here and into the gill. We need to drop down there and get on the other side. If you stay on this side it'll run out at the top of the gill at a dead end that's quite difficult to get down, so don't miss this path here across that gill. You do have the remains of a cairn, but It's not very noticeable. Just down this little path, head straight for that beautiful little waterfall, and you can't go wrong. The path would lead you to believe that it doesn't exist because there's a little rocky step you've got to get over just here, and then you're on it. There we go. We're now on the right hand side of Big Stanger Gill, where we'll find that fence that I mentioned earlier. The other side of the path would have led you to this steep drop where you would have had to climb down and then back up here. So it's doable, but our way was a lot easier. And here's the gating stile. The gate's actually locked, so we've got to use the stile. There is a dog gap in there for you if you needed to use it. And here we have the very dramatic, Jurassic-like Big Stanger Gill. Just look at that view back down into Stonefwait and Borrowdale. Fantastic. There's a few little scrambly sections you've got to be careful on. And then we're on the pitch steps that I was speaking about earlier. Nice and dry, so they're okay today, but when they're wet, they're just horrible. Once you get down off the steps, the last section runs through this lovely ancient oak woodland. Beautiful this time of year. Look at this here for a lovely little pitch. I think I mentioned it last time I done this walk. Look at that, beautiful. Get yourself up here, Robert. Flat as it comes, look at that. Look at that view. Beautiful. More horrible steps. Got an old birch tree here covered in birch polypore. We've got tons of birch polypore dried in jars at home. Just Google birch polypore and have a read about the properties. It's absolutely amazing stuff. It's a wonder drug. Keep plodding down the steps. And eventually you'll pop out on the Stormthwaite path, just here. We're almost back to the van now, so I'm going to wrap the video up. By the time we get back to Stormthwaite, we'll be on about 6 mile. What a route. Absolutely fantastic. A direct ascent and a direct descent today. Not masses of miles, but tough miles. So it's bye from me, and it's bye from me. If you like the content, please think about giving me a subscribe. Keep your fingers crossed for our lad Billy. I'll give you some updates later in the week. Update 1st of November. Billy's operation was an absolute success. He's been a fantastic patient. We've had the results back from the tumour and it's benign, so there's nothing nasty there. Stitches will be out in a couple of days, so watch this space because he's on his way back. The Langstrath Country Inn. Shame Tracy's not with us. I would have took her in there for a big slap up meal and a large glass of Merlot. We head out the village of Stormthwaite, crossing Stormthwaite Beck via Stormthwaite Bridge, head down the Cumbria Way, crossed another bridge and head into Langstrath. After checking out Blackmoss Pot, we started our ascent of the ridge of Cam Crag, zigzagging our way up Cam Crag's Grade 1 Scramble. We eventually reached the top just before Doveness Top. We head down the fence past Rosswaite Cam and then drop down to Tarnat Leaves, and then head up to the summit of Bessyboot. From Bessyboot we dropped into Stanger Gill and made our way down Stanger Gill and back into Stormthwaite.